good afternoon YouTube and people watching this if I've uploaded it. Let's give this little OMP M2 Explorer another try. I've got my Radio Master T16S here. Model has flown once already outside at the park. I did try and video film it, but unfortunately I lifted it, the camera was a little bit too high, probably a bit too high still now. Actually, should I say it was too low. So we've got it. We'll give this one a try, see if I've angled the camera a little bit better. I've changed the settings on this. I followed one of the, it was flying really nice, but I wanted to try a little bit faster on the aileron, so I saw some settings posted by an OMP flyer on YouTube, so I've gone with those and I'm going to give them a try. I've also turned on, or should I say configured, Stephen Bage's or Smoogy's bailout trick on one of the switches that we saw on YouTube from another OMP flyer. I've got it configured on my SC switch, so it's going to be interesting to see, because that is a proper switch. I'll see how brave I feel. Touch wood, I haven't had to use a bailout, but you never know. So let's see. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit calmer today. It's a little bit blustery. Weather forecast got that totally wrong, so we'll see how things progress. Check, make sure my camera's on properly, hat's on properly, and let's give it a try. Bleeding little thunderflies are out in force today, so that's going to be interesting. Feels quite nice. Don't want it to come that close to me. Feels a little bit more sprightly today, which is good. That's got to be the settings of the OMP flight controller that I messed with. I do have my machine set up a little bit softer in the transmitter normally. I'm more of an F3C pilot that does 3D for fun.
2 minutes.
Still not quite got my fingers back into the cycler steering it. I can do chaoses normally, but I'm really out of practice. Not bad though. Hopefully this time it's being a little bit more recorded, so I've got something to show. This is the stock OMP2 battery. This is the second flight with it, so we'll see how well it lasts. No break-ins with this one. The other packs I've got are Hobby King Turnigy ones, and I did break them in by hovering my original 2019 M2 in the garden, so they did get broken in. I knew what I wanted to try and achieve there, but I didn't quite get the model over to it quite right. In 20 seconds. And we'll bring it in, I think. coping quite well in the wind. I'm quite pleased.
3,
Bring it a little bit closer.
1. Timer 1 elapsed.
And throttle hold. Not too bad. Not got young quick fingers anymore, I'm afraid, but hey ho, or a young brain, but you will keep going. That was obviously my timer set for 3 minutes 30. I want to check, see what the motors are running like. Just a slight elevation in temperature, but nothing I don't think that would be worth worrying about. It's not like you can't keep your fingers on it. I think we're only talking an extra couple of degrees over ambient, and for the UK for a change, it is surprisingly warm, which makes a welcoming change.
Telemetry lost.
Thank you very much for letting me know as I disconnect the battery. Let's put the spent batteries in the middle. That was the OMP pack. I must admit, I haven't weighed these packs to see. Oh, number one, I have marked them. I haven't marked the OMP one. I haven't weighed them to see what the difference is in weight. But I'm guessing the difference in size is potentially to do with the C rate, and I must admit I've not paid any attention to what C rate in the OMP ones are, but it seems to fly alright, so we'll see how well that goes. Reset my timer, my flicky switch. Oh, also not terribly good to have this kind of hobby with hay fever, but anyway. Power it back up.
Telemetry recovered.
Thank you very much. I must admit, as a more quite recent convert to OpenTX in the last year, I started off with a jumper T16 around May time actually last year. I was after a little cheap transmitter to use with the smaller little play models, for want of a better word, and the little cheap 10 or 12 pound quads you can buy from China, because I've got a couple of those, because otherwise quads don't really appeal to me very much, but they're quite fun for a little bit of playing around in the garden with the little man, or should I say with my son. Daughter doesn't want anything to do with models, but you never know, there's still time for that one. And it also then kind of works for this, so let's give it another pack. I must admit on this one, that one we didn't try the recovery. Like me, I am crying with the hay fever. So it'd be quite interesting, perhaps we ought to try the recovery on this one and see how well it works. I've obviously set it to, I followed the other's lead and added a little bit of collective pitch, but I've added a little bit less than what they did. I didn't really want it to shoot up, but potentially just hold position, and the wind's picking up again, so we'll see how we go over the next couple of packs. One of those, I'd rather not risk the model unnecessarily, to actually save it for another day and have more fun. I got the switch, obviously SC, when I flick it all the way down towards me, it should recover, so that then obviously I can easily just flick out of it if need be.
Flight mode 1.
I do most of my stuff in idle up 1, and the wind's coming actually behind me, which obviously accounts for not only my fingers moving the model away, but the model being blown away.
3 minutes.
Like that. We'll try and bring it back a little bit closer. I'm quite a big air sort of person, really. I do some close in stuff, but aha, we're getting it. Tail's wiggling away. Alright, so let's try this recovery then. So in theory, we go inverted, it's quite nice and smooth. flick that switch all the way, and it does it, and turn it off. Okay, that works. Try again. And it works. Good. And it's just climbing ever so slightly, so that's not too bad. I'm happy with that. Right, that works. Whether I remember where that switch is if I ever do need it is another thing, but we'll see. A bit of a hesitation there with the tail, but that's because I hesitated at the top, so that probably confused a bit, because 1 minute I'm putting in, I think it was left hand rudder in the top of the arc, and then I changed my mind.
1 minute.
Actually, tried to do a little bit of a, I don't know, a tail wiggle, stick waggle. So that definitely did upset it a bit. Now last time I did some backwards fast stuff in the wind, I actually saw the tail. So I'm holding in left rudder and I actually saw the tail stop, which I thought was quite funny. So let's see if we can do it again.
30 seconds.
And that little model gets pretty small pretty quick, but it's capable of doing it. It's agile.
20 seconds.
Can't get over how agile it is. And yet, I mean, I do soften my sticks around centre with exponential. Again, comes back to the F3C side of me.
7, 6,
I spent a lot of my years hovering,
load.
so
4, 3, 2, 1. Timer 1.
I'm used to spending a lot of time hovering, and I like to be able to hover nice and smoothly. Yeah, not bad. I'm quite enjoying this model. There was two models I was looking at, if you like. One was the Line T-Rex 300 X, should I say, because that is a very nice looking little aircraft. My only concern with that, it wasn't really a concern, but it was just a personal preference at this moment in time due to my complete lack of flying time, what with work and family and obviously everything that everyone else has been going through this past year so far, 2020. My flying time has seriously diminished, and of course then British weather as well dictates then sometimes you're also a bit stuck. So I wanted a model that was quick, easy to repair, and obviously less parts counts, and unfortunately this little M2 fitted that bill. So I have kind of, how shall I say, made a compromise, if you like, because obviously the tail performance on the motor driven aircraft, helicopter should I say, isn't going to be nowhere near as good as the Line 300X, for example, with a proper driven tail. It just won't happen. They're very, very good, admittedly, and I must admit, as someone who likes helicopters, I will be interested to see the performance difference that the Mikado Logo 200 gets out of their little M2 airframe, purely and simply because of obviously the Neo on there. I had to look over there for a minute. I thought to myself, there's people standing over there. I saw them, you can probably see them in the camera, and I thought, God, who's that? They're just staring. Looks like they're bleeding scarecrows kind of thing or whatever.